Brett Dawson from Sellout Crowd here with you at the United Center, where, as you can see, they're taking down the basketball court. Hockey game is up next. The Thunder are 124-104 winners over the Chicago Bulls in the season opener for both teams. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 31 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists. Pretty spectacular floor game from Shai. Pretty rocky debut for Chet Holmgren, and pretty good offense out of the Thunder all the way around. Really good to start. Not so good defensively, although Mark Daigneault said after the game, really thought that Chicago's 35.4 first quarter, more a product of the Bulls making shots than anything the Thunder did wrong defensively. Tightened up a little bit, though. Bulls came back down to earth from a shooting standpoint, and the Thunder just shot the ball great. 19 three-pointers. They had 30 assists tonight. The ball was moving, but also Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just creating a whole lot with his drives. You can see the way the game is coming to him, the way he reads, help defense coming. He assisted on a lot of those three-point shots, getting into the middle of the floor, making life tough on Chicago defenders. Really didn't matter who they put on him. Alex Caruso, excellent on-ball defender, really couldn't keep him out of the paint. Almost nobody in the NBA can. Really great debut for Shai. He talked a little bit after the game about all the hard work that he's put in and pinpointing the things he needs to work on. And it was an interesting thing because Billy Donovan, prior to this game, who coached Shai for 1 year at OKC, said that improvement in the NBA for players is kind of like a dartboard. Some guys just kind of throw the dart, and wherever it lands, they kind of work on some stuff, and maybe they don't get a whole lot better. But Shai, he said, is really good at pinpointing exactly what he needs to do to get better. He talked about the sort of famous 3 months where Shai went away during COVID from that when the Thunder had their break, the NBA had its break before the bubble, and Shai came back stronger because he knew he needed to be stronger. He was better with the ball because he knew he needed to be. Did a lot of work, and that sort of stuff is showing. The game is definitely slowing down for him, and what Mark Daigneault said after the game was they need the game to slow down that way for everybody. Ultimately, if those guys, the rest of these guys, can stay on that same track that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is on, this is going to be a very good team, and this is going to be a core that's going to be together for a really long time. 16 points tonight for Josh Giddey, 16 for Jalen Williams, 14 for Isaiah Joe. Cason Wallace was really good tonight, shot the ball, didn't miss a shot, played pretty good defense. Chet Holmgren, 11 points, had his kind of welcome to the NBA moment. Andre Drummond stripped him, then crossed him over, and Chet hit the floor. He was asked if that's going to be something he can remember fondly in the future as kind of his welcome to the NBA moment. Said he's not sure about that yet, not ready to commit to fond feelings about that play later down the road. But you could see tonight, obviously, when Drummond was in, really physical guy. Nick Vucevic was a guy who can just kind of body with Chet. And he was a little bit slow on some of Chicago's cuts. Really seemed like a rookie experience, a first game experience. The way the intensity dials up in a regular season game, very different from the preseason. So just a lot of stuff for Chet to learn. Mark Daigneault talked before the game about his favorite thing about Chet is the competitiveness. And he had an interesting take on the competitiveness because what he said was, he's willing to get dunked on 10 times in a row. Now, he won't get dunked on 10 times in a row because he'll get some of those. But he's not afraid. He's not afraid to challenge everything. He knows he's going to get dunked on. And what he said after the game was, Chet is a studious guy, a guy who will really pour over this game and see what he can learn, see what he can take away from it. There will be a lot for him to learn. He did shoot the ball pretty well, made a couple of threes. Thunder's starting lineup, everybody made at least 2 threes tonight. It was just a really well-rounded offensive performance by OKC, led, of course, by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Thunder 1-0 and headed to Cleveland. They'll take tomorrow off. They'll be here in Chicago. They'll travel to Cleveland tomorrow, a Friday game there, and we'll kind of see what happens next. The rotation went pretty deep, as Mark Daigneault tends to do. We didn't see Vasily Micic today. We saw Aleksej Pokusevski just at the very end of the game. He was healthy enough to play, but didn't see a lot of minutes. Obviously didn't see any time in the preseason, hasn't practiced a whole lot, and so the Thunder probably going to be pretty conservative with him at this point. We saw a lot of guys. Ousmane Dieng was very good off the bench. The bench, after a really sluggish first quarter, very good the rest of the way. Really helped the Thunder break the game open in the fourth quarter. This is a game with 20 lead changes, but OKC really in control down the stretch. Biggest part of all that stuff, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, pretty good. If he's going to be a first-team All-NBA guy again, if he's going to make a run at MVP, it's a heck of a way to start. We'll have a whole lot more from this game at selloutcrowd.com. You can follow all the coverage there, and we'll be in Cleveland, so we'll see you there.